3,216 miles. That is how long one guy got out of his new Ram Laramie before the engine ate itself. Metal in the oil, long block condemned. And the truck you are about to buy at the dealer this weekend uses that exact same motor. Number 5. Stellantis is broken right now, and you are going to feel it at the dealer. Look, I do not bring up corporate stuff unless it directly hits your wallet. But this one does. Stellantis lost $22.3 billion last year. That is the first annual loss in the company's history. The stock dropped almost 24% in a single day when they announced it back in February. The CEO before this got fired. The new guy, Antonio Filosa, stood up in front of investors 3 weeks ago and called 2026 the year of execution. Translation, 2026 is the year they are still trying to fix the company. 2027 is the first year the fixes actually show up in the truck. I have a friend who runs a Dodge service department about an hour from my shop. He told me Stellantis sent dealers an order earlier this year telling them to stop approving out of warranty goodwill repairs. So a guy walks in 6 months past his factory warranty with a failed front differential, a job that is going to run him $5,000, and the dealer comes back and tells him his loyalty score is too low. That is a real conversation that happened. Loyalty score on a guy who bought 3 Rams in a row. And the parts situation is its own problem. I had a customer waiting almost 6 weeks on a 48-volt belt alternator. That part has been on back order for years. There is no excuse for that on a truck still in production. I personally think when a manufacturer is mid-crisis, the first thing you notice in the shop is parts tightening up and goodwill drying up. Both of those are happening at Ram right now, but the corporate stuff is only the start, because the actual engine in the truck is where this gets ugly fast. Number 4. The Hurricane engine is still a running engineering experiment. This 3.0 twin-turbo inline-6 replaced the 5.7 Hemi for the 2025 model year. 18 months in, the failure pattern is documented, and Stellantis still has not fixed the worst stuff. There are already 300 federal complaints filed on the 2025 Ram 1500. The average truck has only 248 miles on it when the owner is filing. That truck is failing before the new car smell wears off. The thermostat alone is enough to scare me off this engine. Over 10% of high-output owners are reporting thermostat failures in one independent survey. Some failures have shown up as early as 10,000 miles. The factory part is a plastic 3-way rotating valve buried under the turbos. Aftermarket companies are already selling metal replacement parts because Stellantis has not redesigned the factory unit. By the book, the job is 2.5 hours. In the real world, it is a full day. Stellantis will only replace it after it has already overheated and stranded you somewhere, not before. This is also the first Ram engine I have ever worked on without a real dipstick. The oil level is read by a sensor on the pan and reported through the dash. I had a customer pull in last fall with his truck in limp mode because the system was reporting an overfill. There was no way to verify by hand. You are trusting the sensor and the software, full stop. As a guy with 20 years on the floor, I personally hate this design. There is no good reason to remove a working dipstick except cost cutting. And the fuel economy is a whole other story. The high output requires premium fuel. The standard output recommends regular, but plenty of owners are needing 89 octane just to stop the stuttering. Real-world mileage comes in around 17 on the highway. The Hemi this thing replaced was doing the same numbers on cheaper gas. So you got rid of a V8, you got rid of the dipstick, you took on premium fuel, and you got a truck that costs the same to feed. And now you also have to deal with thermostat failures, misfires, and a class action investigation that opened up specifically against the Hurricane. Tell me how that is progress. Now, all of that is what is happening inside the engine, but there is something else going on with these trucks that every potential buyer needs to see in black and white. Number 3. The 2025 and 2026 Ram 1500 have already racked up 6 recalls in 18 months. I have been doing this for 20 years, and I cannot remember a redesigned truck having this many recalls this fast after launch. Let me run through them. There is a trailer tow module that can overheat and burn out under your seat, taking your trailer lights and trailer brakes with it. That one covers over 312,000 of these trucks. If you tow a 10,000-pound trailer with no working trailer brakes, I do not need to spell out what happens next. The replacement modules were on back order at launch, and dealers were getting them one at a time as recently as last month. There is a separate recall for a front wheel hub sensor that disables your electronic stability control, affecting 33,000 trucks. There is a recall for the 12-inch instrument cluster going blank while you are driving, affecting 43,000 trucks. There is another recall for the 3.5-inch instrument cluster software, there is a headlight module software recall, and there is a tire pressure recall telling owners to inflate their tires to 50 pounds, which would basically destroy a passenger tire. That is 6 recalls, and it does not even include the battery drain problem, which Stellantis has not recalled, they just issued a quiet service bulletin for. I keep seeing forum posts of guys with 2,000 miles on a brand new truck, and the battery is reading 11.7 volts in the morning. One owner in Texas, 3,700 miles on his truck, dead twice. Dealer says no fault found both visits. That is a limited trim, the second from the top of the lineup. But here's the part that should make you angry. The CEO, before he got fired, openly said that the Sterling Heights plant, where every Ram 1500 in the country is built, was a top source of trucks needing repairs before they even left the factory to go to the dealer. That is not me saying it. That is the head of the company saying it on the record. And they shipped the trucks anyway. Quick favor before I keep going. If anything in this video so far has been useful to you, hit that subscribe button. It is a free way to support the channel, and it tells me to keep digging into this stuff instead of just reading press releases like everybody else. Now, all of these recalls and engineering issues are why the 2026 is risky. But there is another reason the 2027 specifically is worth waiting for. And it is not just about avoiding problems. Number 2, the 2027 is the first build where the entire product lineup is actually mature. 2 big things drop with the 2027 model year. First, the SRT TRX comes back. 777 horsepower, supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi, sticker price $102,590. That undercuts the Ford F-150 Raptor R by about 11 grand, while making 57 more horsepower. Now, I know most of you watching this are not buying a TRX, but here is the part that matters to you even if you are buying a base tradesman. When the top-of-the-line truck shows up, it pulls every other price up with it. The TRX brings comparison shoppers in, dealers stop discounting random trims by 10% just to move metal off the lot, and Ram sets a real ceiling on the line. That is good for resale on your truck 3 years from now. The second thing is the Ram 1500 Revern. The range-extended version finally enters production in the second half of 2026 as a 2027 model. This is the truck Stellantis has delayed 4 separate times. They canceled the pure battery electric version entirely back in September. What you actually get is a 92 kilowatt-hour battery plus a 3.6-liter Pentastar generator. The generator never drives the wheels, it just charges the battery. Total range is nearly 700 miles, a 14,000-pound tow rating, and a 2,600-pound payload. I have personally been doubtful about every electric truck on the market because none of them work for a guy who actually tows. This one might. But the biggest reason to wait is the software. Stellantis has pushed out at least 5 major software updates just for the engine on the 2025 and 2026 Hurricane. Transmission shifting wrong, batteries dying overnight, engines misfiring at highway cruise, check engine lights coming on, and instrument clusters crashing while you are driving. By the time the 2027 rolls off the line, 3 years of those fixes are baked into the factory programming instead of being something you have to drive back to the dealer to flash. That is the difference between buying year 1 of a redesign and buying year 3. Same truck, but the bugs have been pulled out. I told a guy in the comments last week that the smart play with any redesigned vehicle is to wait 2 model years, and the Ram 1500 is the textbook case for why. Now, this last reason is the one I guarantee will generate the most argument in the comments, but it is also the take I will defend even when half of you yell at me about it. So listen close. Number 1. The Hemi V8 they brought back was not actually fixed. For a year now, every Ram fan on YouTube has been celebrating the return of the Hemi. I get it. Losing the V8 in the first place was a stupid decision, and bringing it back was the right call. But there is a problem with that celebration. The 5.7 Hemi coming back in 2026 and 2027 is the exact same engine that left. Same multi-displacement system, same mild hybrid belt alternator setup, same valve train design that has been eating camshafts since 2009. Ram CEO Tim Kuniskis said it on the record. His exact words when asked why they did not redesign the engine were, "That was one of the ways to speed the development, to make it exactly the way it was." Word for word from the CEO of Ram. They brought back the engine without fixing the lifter and camshaft failure that has cost owners thousands of dollars for over a decade. The job at a dealer in 2026 is running between $5,000 and $6,460, 15 hours of book labor. I have personally done that job in my shop more times than I can count. And you might say, well, the lifter design got revised. Yes, around 2013. The failure rate went down. It did not go away. There is a federal class action lawsuit on this right now, moving through court in Delaware. The argument is that the multi-displacement system itself is what causes the lifter failures, and that no properly maintained engine should be eating its cam before 100,000 miles. The lawsuit is ongoing. The engine has not changed. So when Stellantis decided to bring back the Hemi by leaving it, in their own words, exactly the way it was, that was a marketing decision dressed up as engineering. And I personally think Ram took the easy way out and is hoping you do not notice. If you want the Hemi back bad enough to put up with all this, my advice is wait for the 2027. The engine itself is unchanged, and that is a real concern, but at least by 2027, Ram has the parts pipeline working again, the back orders cleared, and the new wiring problems fixed. The 2026 Hemi truck is the beta build of the return. The 2027 is the production version. So here is my honest bottom line on all 5 of these. If you are sitting on a heavily discounted 2026 Hemi crew cab and the financing makes sense for your budget, I am not going to tell you it is a terrible truck. It is not. But if you have any flexibility to wait, the 2027 gives you a debugged Hurricane or a matured Hemi build. The recalls cleared from the factory, the TRX back to anchor the lineup, and the REV finally on dealer lots. The 2026 is the transition year. The 2027 is what Ram is actually trying to build. Now, whether you wait or you buy this weekend, if you are looking at a Ram, you are almost certainly looking at the F-150 and the Silverado 2. I made a video called Ram versus Ford versus Chevy, the truth no one talks about. In it, I lay out exactly where each truck is winning and where each one is quietly losing right now. One of those three trucks is absolutely outclassing the other two on the thing that matters most if you keep a truck for 10 years, and it is not the one you would guess. Go watch that video next before you sign anything at any dealership this weekend.